Hey there, James here with Penner Trailer Sales. As your Coyote dealer, I'd like to take a quick minute and we'll talk about tire types. We've got 3 identical tractors behind me with 3 different tire types. So we have on the end of the line an R1 tire, which is commonly referred to as an ag tire. In the center, we have an R4 tire, commonly referred to as industrial, and then we have the R14, which is kind of a blend of the two. The ag type tire is the most traditional tire. It's been around for generations. It's very easily recognizable. The footprint tends to be narrower and the lug is the tallest. It's designed for traction. Wet environments, muddy environments, it'll cut, it'll dig. It's self-cleaning with these wide open spaces here and angled, so it'll clean itself if you're spinning or losing traction or what have you. It won't tend to fill up with mud. It just really is designed for traction. If you spend time driving on a hard surface a lot, this will tend to wear quicker because the weight is carried on the lugs, so it'll wear down the tire quicker. This tire really wants to stay on dirt, on a softer surface. Also, the nature of these lugs, they'll cut. They'll sink in, they'll leave a print. If you're driving a lot in your yard or on a lawn, these will track up your yard, and if you're turning sharply, it can also tear up your sod a bit. So if your primary application is in a yard or on a lawn, this might not be your first pick, but if you're in an application where you're just looking for traction, and traction is important, this is a very good choice. The industrial tire tread is designed more for longer life and also to carry weight. It's referred to as industrial because it kind of came from the industrial space. You might see this tire tread on construction equipment and so on. The industrial tread is very similar in a lot of ways to the ag tread, but it's not as aggressive. The lugs are wider and they're not as tall. So this won't leave as much of a tire track in your yard or your lawn, but it will still provide you reasonable traction. If you're getting into a lot of mud, they're not as self-cleaning, so they will fill up, especially on the front tire. The lugs are a little closer, and that will tend to fill up with mud a little quicker. The back tire here is still fairly open. But this is a step down, essentially, from the traction emphasis. You also, on hard surfaces, road, concrete, what have you, this lug will hold up much better on a hard surface because it's wider and not wear down nearly as quickly. Here with the R14, the R14 is a combination of the R1 ag tire and the R4 industrial tire. It's a much newer tire. It's not been on the market nearly as long. The traction, the treads with this tire is concentrated in the center. So in the center of the tire, the lugs are kind of a block lug and they're fairly dense. If you're on a soft surface, if you're on a firm surface, like a lawn or a yard, the weight will be carried here. It won't be cutting into or tearing up your sod. And if you're in a hard surface, like a roadway or concrete, again, the weight will be carried here on these wide traction lugs. So it works well, it has long life, longevity, as it were. On the outside of the tire, these traction lugs are much more reminiscent of the R1 ag tire. In a soft situation where maybe you're losing some traction, you have some wheel slippage and the tires needing to dig to find traction, these lugs will be self-cleaning and will start as the tire sinks into the dirt or the mud, will begin to grip and begin to dig. So there you have the more functionality similar to the ag tire. So this tire is really a combination for in dry applications to wear well and not to tear up a yard or so on. But when traction is really needed and you need that tire to be able to dig and self-clean, it can start to do that as well. So it's a great choice for a subcompact tractor. Another less common tire you may see is a turf type tire. You see these frequently used on golf courses. Lawn mowers would have a turf type tire also. And that's basically just a fairly smooth tire with minimal grooving in it for traction. And they're really focused on turf and not damaging turf. With tractors, you typically want to see more traction, so it's not nearly as common an application for a compact tractor. So I hope that's been helpful for you in selecting which tire type for your tractor. If you have any questions, we'd love to have a conversation with you at Penner Trailer Sales, 931-361-1122.